Very recently, you might have heard the term Secret Service a little bit more often than you're used to. One of those situations being maybe the attempted assassination on the president and all of the technical strategic breakdowns that happened by the Secret Service, but now they're in the headlines again. The Secret Service is now in the headlines again because they are investigating an agent who reportedly abandoned their post at nothing more than a Trump rally just 1 month following the attempted assassination. Seems like a questionable decision-making happening in the Secret Service. So let's go ahead and take a look. This article comes from the Post Millennial, and it says that the Secret Service is investigating after a female agent reportedly abandoned her post to breastfeed her baby during Donald Trump's campaign rally in North Carolina on Wednesday. Several sources familiar with the matter that has to be my favorite statement by these news articles is several sources familiar with the matter. Who are these people? How are they any more familiar than you or I? And what gives them the right to be the person that you cite? And when you're citing something, aren't you supposed to say who they are? Like several sources familiar with the matter. That literally tells me nothing. You could pull that from thin air. They could completely not exist. Anyways, several sources familiar with the matter told Real Clear Politics reporter Suzanne Crabtree. Okay. Sources told Crabtree that the agent did not provide notice about the situation. This comes after the Secret Service came under fire for its security failures during Trump's rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, which resulted in an assassination attempt on the now GOP nominee. Interesting. Now, it says that in the lead up to the North Carolina rally, the USS site agent who is responsible for the security of the event. So this is not just any old agent. This is the person responsible for the security. Like, okay, maybe you should pay attention. Was preparing for the arrival of Trump's motorcade. The site agent conducted a final sweep of the walking route and discovered the agent breastfeeding her child in a room that is designated for essential Secret Service official work, such as a potential emergency. Okay, so I was wrong. I guess I should wait a minute before I make statements. Wasn't the individual, it was the person doing the final sweep, but they were walking down wherever they were walking, found this woman breastfeeding her child, and decided that maybe we shouldn't be doing that at a time where, I don't know, we're just minutes away from Donald Trump going out and potentially having a similar situation as to what happened last time. It says that it is prohibited for a working agent on duty for a protective assignment to bring a child with them. Makes sense. She also reportedly brought 2 additional family members who were present in the room with her when she was found breastfeeding her baby. The female agent works for the Atlanta field office, as reported by Crabtree. The agent and her family members were reportedly escorted into the room by event staff who had not received security clearance after bypassing the uniform division checkpoint. Okay, that seems to be the gist of it. Won't bore you with the rest of it, but here's what I would think about that. Maybe now's not the time to be bringing in your family members. And maybe you're not in the exact workplace environment where you should be doing that. Now, I am a big proponent of both breasts and feeding. Particularly breastfeeding. I think it's one of the most amazing things in the world. It's incredible that a woman's body has the capabilities to provide life to a child. I have 3 children myself, all of which were breastfed by my beautiful wife. And I would not want to do anything to prevent a woman from being able to breastfeed your child. That is how they live. You shouldn't have to provide your child with bullshit formula because they're riddled with the most carcinogenic materials you could ever imagine. There's some ways to get around that, though. You can breast pump. You could use a breast pump, and you can create an excess, which you put into the freezer and then give your child with a warmer. There's a lot of ways that this could have not happened, and I honestly don't think this would have ever made headlines had it not been just weeks after Donald Trump had an assassination attempt, especially on the sensitive topic of female Secret Service officers, after the absolute clown show that happened on camera that everybody was talking about just a couple of, few weeks ago. I'm sure you recall everything that happened there, so we won't have to go through that. But maybe not the time, maybe not the place, maybe not the position that you should be holding if you're somebody who needs to immediately breastfeed your child. Now, they're obviously, I think, in almost any situation, any workplace, any environment, you should be able to provide life to your child. I'm not somebody who's saying that, oh, that woman should be in the kitchen or that woman should be at home with her child at all times. No, I get it. Maybe you have to pay rent. Maybe the father's not involved. Maybe he doesn't make enough money in order to enable you to work from home. I get it. 100%. I agree with you. Breastfeed your child. But maybe don't breastfeed that child at the event by having your family bypass security and also during a time where you're supposed to be in an active position of your duties. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to shame this woman. And I saw several people actually shaming this woman online, saying that maybe you don't belong and all that. Like, no, you should be able to hold a position and breastfeed your child. But you should also have the cognitive awareness to make sure that you're not putting a life in danger, which is the entire purpose of your position, is to provide safety to a specific individual, in this case, Donald Trump. Maybe not the time, maybe not the place. That's all I'm saying. I think there's probably a good way that this could have not happened. One being that maybe just get a breast pump. Deal with it like that. Your child deserves your beautiful, wonderful miracle of breast milk. But maybe you shouldn't be doing that behind a gated area during a time where you're supposed to be protecting the president while also hosting people who should not be there at that time. One of those people, including your child, right? Maybe not the time, maybe not the place, maybe not the timeline that you should be doing this immediately after and following the most recent situation with Donald Trump. That's all I'm going to say about that. I don't think there's too much to talk about there, but maybe you should have a little bit better decision making. Should this be huge headlines? Should so many people be talking about it? Probably not. Maybe if something happened to Trump, right? God forbid. But I just think maybe there's some better decision making that could have happened here. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to condemn this woman. I get it. You should be feeding your child. I'm not going to say you should be at home with your baby all the time because I don't know your situation. But what I am saying is that better critical thinking probably could prevented you from finding yourself in this situation. Just 2 weeks after, Cheeto resigned as a result of her incompetence, maybe isn't the time, right? You go through these ebbs and flows with work. Sometimes your feet are to the fire and you need to make sure you hit deadlines. Sometimes your feet are to the fire and you need to make sure that publicly you don't look atrocious in a specific uniform that is designed to show that you are the person who's supposed to be protecting the president of the United States. That's all that I am saying. Right? Seems pretty straightforward.